Hi there. Today's reading is from week 7, day 5. So we're starting in Genesis 22. I gave the first 2 verses yesterday. Every amazing thing that is to happen in this chapter came to pass after these things. We ought to quickly explain what these things in Abraham's life were. 1. As we read in Genesis 12, Abram is called by God to leave everything and follow him. Kind of like Jesus calling the disciples, to go to an unspecified land, a land that I will show you, and he would be the patriarch of a great nation. So Abram leaves Ur and heads for Canaan. As we find in As we find in Genesis 13, Abram is given the land of Canaan by God, not by the United Nations or some peace plan or political arrangement. Israel currently occupies just a small portion of original land God gave Abram. They're not going anywhere. And God more specifically promises to give Abram lots of kids. I will make your descendants as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could number the dust of the earth, then your descendants also could be numbered. Verse 16. In Genesis 15, as already mentioned, number 3. In Genesis 15, as already mentioned, we see where God takes Abram outside into the starry desert night and tells him to count the stars. So shall your descendants be. And for the first time, it is stated that Abram believed in the Lord, and he accounted it to him for righteousness, verses 5 through 6. It is then that the Abrahamic covenant is drawn between Abram and God, an immutable covenant. Number 4. In Genesis 17, God reaffirms his covenant with the newly named Abraham and makes male circumcision the physical sign of it. I've performed literally thousands of circumcisions in my career, and I think of this covenant every single time. But remember, it is not part of the new covenant, as seen in Colossians 2:11. In him, you were also circumcised with the circumcision made without hands. It is also an important chapter. It is also in this important chapter that Sarah, previously known as Sarai, Abraham's wife, 90 years old, Abraham was 99, is told that she will bear a son and that he is already named. Sarah, your wife, shall bear a son, and you shall call his name Isaac. Verse 19. Number 5. Genesis 18 tells us that shortly thereafter, the pre-incarnate Jesus appears to Abraham and Sarah, confirming the pregnancy with Isaac. I personally think this is when Sarah became pregnant. I'm probably the only one on earth who thinks that, but the life of Isaac would turn out to be very much a type of Christ, and Jesus said twice to Sarah that he would return to her according to the time of life. I take that to mean 9 months, verses 9 through 13. Number 6. We find in Genesis 21 that the promised son, Isaac, is born, verses 2 through 3. This would have been impossible in the natural carnal world and would have absolutely sealed Abraham's belief in God's word, because what he had promised did indeed come to pass. Wow, I really went too long this morning. This stuff may seem boring to you, but I absolutely love it. And I suspect you do too. We've set the background for Abraham's journey up a mountain in the land of Moriah.